Hi, I'm Carol Wilson, and I'm here at TelcoTV with Shirley Bloomfield, the CEO of NTCA. Now, Shirley, you're very much on top of what's been going on in Washington, where a lot of regulatory changes are coming down that have impacted your members. Can you bring us up to speed on what's happening?
Absolutely, although I will say, Carol, that it changes every day. So whatever we're talking about today could be different tomorrow. But we have some significant changes. Just about a year ago, the FCC released their Universal Service and Inter-Carrier Compensation Order, which really changed forever the way independent telephone companies will be regulated, and it certainly impacts their revenue streams. So one of the things that we have been working with the FCC on is figuring out a way to create a path forward, because part of what this FCC order does is it creates a great deal of regulatory uncertainty. It changes and it caps, and it allows carriers to only get recovery on certain portions of their investment. Okay. So as independent companies are making decisions about what they're going to build into the future, they really have no idea of how they're going to pay for some of these investments. So we've been working with the FCC on a daily basis trying to get some clarity. We are also taking the case to court. So we just filed in the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals this week our inter-carrier compensation brief. So we will be starting the hearing process. I think we've got a really excellent legal argument. The problem is the legal process takes a very long time, so there will be no immediate relief in that venue. But when Congress comes back in, with the new Congress is elected, we hope to kind of gin up again some more congressional activity to continue to educate policymakers about why some of the provisions that the FCC implemented are so negative. Okay.
Well, what's been the immediate impact of these provisions on companies' ability, for example, to repay RUS loans or to fund fiber build-outs or the kinds of things we know they want to do?
Oh, it's been huge and it's been immediate. So you're absolutely right about the RUS portfolio. Hundreds of these carriers are RUS borrowers, which is an agency within USDA. That is their primary lending organization to do their broadband builds. And what we're seeing is they've got about a $4.5 billion loan portfolio that frankly is at risk because these borrowers aren't sure how they're going to actually be able to repay their previous loans, much less how do they go forward, how do they go in and ask for more money when they're not even sure if they can pay back what they've already done. So we're seeing that impact. The other thing that we're seeing is we saw a number of carriers turning back their stimulus money that they received as part of the Recovery Act, which was really most unfortunate because that was a great opportunity for some new funding. And we've also seen a number of states where the carriers have really kind of held back. As a matter of fact, Wisconsin just did a survey of all of their companies. They've got about 45 companies. Over 50% said they are actually going to be delaying builds into the new year. Iowa, about 80% of their companies said they are going to delay or cancel any of their builds. So part of it is we just need some regulatory certainty.
Okay. And obviously if rural telcos are delaying their build-outs, then that's broadband that's not reaching a significant portion of the rural population, and it will have real economic impact on those areas.
Absolutely. It is an absolute contrast. You know, on one hand, you've got the administration talking about their goal being ensuring that all Americans have access to broadband. That was part of the impetus for these changes in the USF rules. And the real consequences being folks in a lot of these rural areas not only won't get new services, they won't be able to continue to upgrade the existing services they have. How that's tied to jobs, how that's tied to economic development, all of that is incredibly critical.
Okay, so on the topic of economic development, NTCA, I know, is starting a new initiative, Smart Communities, is that the right?
Smart Rural Communities.
Smart Rural Communities. Tell us about that.
So this is an initiative we are so excited about. One of the things that we decided to do is we thought, you know, we can talk among ourselves in a little bubble, but what we really wanted to do is bring in those stakeholders who also really, their future is tied to a broadband future as well. So we put folks around the table, and it was folks like the American Telemedicine Association, the VA hospitals, and the Small Business Association, the independent bankers, the Grange, the Farm Bureau, you know, all of those entities, the groups that are concerned about rural education. And we've now had a series of discussions and briefings and brainstorming sessions where we've been talking about what does it really take to create a smart rural community. And at the backbone of that, it's a broadband network. It's the ability for those entities to provide their services through an efficient means of communication and data and all of those other things that broadband provides. So it's been great on a couple of fronts. One, I think that it's created a new voice of allies who realize how important broadband is. So we've had some new voices with us at the FCC. And the other is it's helping our independent telephone companies connect the dots with more of these organizations. Shouldn't they be reaching out to their VA hospitals? Half of the VA hospitals in this country are in rural America. If we can start doing telemedicine for these returning vets so that they're not driving 4 hours to get service, that is a huge, benefit for everybody, and it's the right thing to do.
And also would create some new revenue streams for rural telcos who absolutely need those. Okay,
Absolutely.
terrific.
It's a win-win.
Shirley, thanks so much for being here with us today. At TelcoTV, I'm Carol Wilson.